Something's been eating at me for the better part of a month now, and I've decided tonight's the night I finally say it, because at my age, you stop assuming there's a next time. You just do. The next time is a promise nobody can make you anymore. Everybody out there is selling you the same lie. Hustle harder, wake up at 5, fill every hour, answer every message the second it comes in, squeeze more out of the day, and then you'll finally feel like your life meant something. I need to tell you something, and I need you to actually hear me, not skim past it while you do 3 other things. Just for a few minutes, be here with an old man. I'm 89 years old. My name is Cormac. I live in a 1-room fisherman's cottage on the cold end of a Maine harbor, with a roof that leaks in 2 spots I patch with tar every spring, and a kettle that's older than most of you watching. I've got $40 in my wallet, a tide chart nailed to the wall, and a photograph of a woman I'll tell you about in a minute. That's the whole estate. That's what 89 years bought me. And I'm going to tell you something none of those hustle fellas ever will. You are wasting your life. Right now, this very minute. And you don't feel it happening. That's the terror of the thing. It doesn't feel like waste. It feels like being responsible. It feels like being busy. It feels, God help us, productive. There are 4 ways a person quietly throws a whole life away without ever once noticing. And I've watched every one of them up close in other men and in the mirror. I saved the last one for the end on purpose. Number 1 is the one I watched destroy the sharpest man I ever knew. A man who never wasted a single hour in his life and somehow wasted every last one of them. I don't know how else to say it. Stay with me for that. It's the whole reason I'm sitting up tonight instead of sleeping. But before I go one step further, do one small thing for me. Down in the comments, tell me where you're watching from tonight. One word, just the town, the country, wherever you are. I like knowing who's sitting up in the dark with me. When you get to my age, you notice the room's gotten awful quiet. And it means more than you'd think to know somebody's out there. So say hello, then come right back. Now here's the thing about these 4. Not one of them looks like waste from the inside. That's what makes them so deadly. Every single one of them feels like the right thing to do. That's the trap. Let me walk you through it one at a time. Number 4, you're spending today buying a tomorrow that never actually comes. I did this for 40 years. 40. I told myself when the boat's paid off, then I'll rest. When we get one good season, then I'll take my wife down the coast like I promised her. My wife's name was Nora. Every year, I said next year. Next year we'll go. Next year things will settle. Next year. Nora died on a Tuesday in March. We never went. 40 years of next years, and not one of them ever showed up. Because next year is a place that does not exist. There's only ever this year, this week, this one supper going cold while you finish something that won't matter in a month. Now I knew another fella, complete opposite. Old Debin ran the bait shop by the pier. Debin got a bad report from the doctor at 55, and you know what he did? He shut the shop for 3 weeks and drove his wife clear across to the Rockies, something they'd talked about for 30 years. Everybody said he was foolish, closing up in season. Debin lived another 26 years and he'd tell that story till your ear fell off. He got his trip. I never got mine. Same harbor, 2 different men. One believed in someday, one didn't. Here's your test, and I want you to actually do it. Get out your phone, the same one that steals so much from you, and find the calendar. Now take that one thing you always say you'll do someday, the thing that just popped into your head, and put it on an actual date, a real one. because someday isn't a day of the week, but the next one is worse. Because number 4 only steals your years. The next one steals your people. Number 3, you're in the room, but you're not really there. You're at the supper table and you're on that little glowing rectangle. You're at your boys' game and you're answering emails behind your eyes. My neighbor down the harbor, a good young fella named Briggs, hard worker. Don't get me wrong, he told me last summer, his little girl looked up at him and asked, "Daddy, why do you love your phone more than me?" And he laughed it off in the moment, but he told me that night he sat out in his truck and cried because a child that age hasn't learned how to lie yet. She just told him the plain truth, and it near about killed him. But I'll give you the other side. There's a widow up the road, Marta. Raised 3 grandchildren alone after a hard thing I won't get into. Woman had nothing, but when those kids talked, she put down whatever was in her hands and she looked at them. Really looked. Those grandchildren are grown now and they drive 4 hours every single month to sit at her table. You don't get that with money. You get that by being there, actually there. You can live in a house with your children for 18 years and miss the whole thing. Physically present, gone the whole time. So here's your challenge, and it's a different one. Tonight, at supper, or whenever you sit with somebody you love, leave that phone in another room face down and ask them one real question. Not how was your day, a real one. What's been on your mind lately? And then, this is the hard part, don't say a word for a full minute. Just let them talk. You'll be shocked what comes out when a person finally believes you're listening. Now, if you're still with me, stay, because this next part is the one that quietly changed how I see everything. It's the one I lost the most years to, and I never even knew I was doing it. Number 2, you're living your whole life inside your own head, chewing on things that already happened, fighting arguments from 10 years back, worrying yourself sick over things that never come to pass. Lord, do you know how much of my one life I lost that way? Standing on the deck of my boat, a sunrise coming up gold over that cold water, the kind of thing men pay good money to go see. In my mind, 1,000 miles off, grinding on some grudge, some bill, some fool who did me wrong back in 1978, a fella whose face I can barely even picture now. The sun came up over that water, something like 10,000 mornings of my working life. I'd wager I actually saw maybe 200 of them. 200. The rest I spent locked in the little courtroom in my skull, prosecuting people who'd long ago forgotten my name. I knew a man beat this thing, though. A fella named Alcott. Sharpened knives and tools down the way. Alcott had every reason to be bitter, lost his son young. That kind of grief that could hollow a man out for good. But that man could stand at his grinding wheel and tell you exactly what the gulls were doing, what the tide smelled like, how the light was hitting the water that hour. He'd say, "Cormac, this morning's the only one I'm getting. I'm not going to spend it in yesterday." I thought he was a bit simple back then. Now I think he was about the wisest man I ever stood next to. So here's your test, and it's just for you. Next time you catch that machine in your head, start up replaying, rehearsing, worrying. Put one hand flat on something near you. A table, a rail, your own knee. Feel it. Cold or warm, rough or smooth. That one touch drags you out of your skull and back into the only place your life is actually happening. Right here. Do it every time you catch yourself drifting. It's a small thing. It's not a small thing at all. Now, number 1, let me tell you about Ambrose. Ambrose was the sharpest man I ever met on that whole harbor. Never wasted a minute in his life. Up before any of us in after all of us, mending his nets by lantern while the rest of the coast slept. He built the biggest operation on that stretch of water, 3 boats, a crew of 12, real money in the bank. He did everything those hustle fellas tell you to do, and he did it for 50 years without flinching. And I envied that man. God forgive me, I did. I'd see him working in the dark before dawn and think there's a man who's got it all figured out. There's a man not wasting his life. I sat with Ambrose near the end, and I want you to hear this part slow. His hands, I remember his hands most. All those years of rope and salt water had turned them into something more like tree bark than skin. And they just lay there still in his lap, and I don't think I'd ever once in 50 years seen those hands be still. That's what got me. And he looked at me from his chair and he said, "Cormac, I did everything. I never stopped, not once. And I can't remember a single day of it. It all just runs together into one long gray stretch of doing. I filled every hour I was given, and I don't recall living even one of them." Then he said the thing I'll carry to my own grave. He said, "I was so busy making a living, I forgot to check whether I was making a life." He never wasted an hour, and he wasted every last one. Do you understand what I'm telling you? That's not laziness. That's the opposite of laziness. That's the trap the hustle fellas will never, ever warn you about, because they're the ones selling it. Number 1, you mistake motion for a life. You think because you're busy, you must be living. You think as long as you keep moving, you're safe. But a man can run flat out for 80 years in the wrong direction and call it a life. And at the very end, all he's holding is a blur. And here's the twist, the whole reason I sat down tonight. The thing that ruins people at the end is almost never that they were lazy. I've buried plenty of hard workers, and not one of them lay there wishing they'd done more. What ruins them is this. They believe the lie that a full schedule is the same thing as a full life. It is not. You hear me? It is not. You can cram every hour full and starve clean to death on the inside. Ambrose did. Right there in front of me, in a chair, with money in the bank and nothing in his hands. So let me set them all down for you one more time, plain, so you carry them out of here tonight. You're buying a tomorrow that never comes. You're in the room, but never really there. You're living inside your own head, and you've mistaken being busy for being alive. Now hear the good news, because there is some, I promise you. Not one of these 4 is a money problem. Not one. You don't need a single dollar to fix any of them. The poorest soul watching me tonight can start mending all 4 before their head hits the pillow. Tonight, from that very chair you're in. So tell me, out of the 4, how many are you guilty of right now? If you're honest, give me the number 1 to 4 down in the comments. And no shame on the high numbers, none. A high number just means you woke up tonight. And waking up is the whole ball game. I sat at 4 out of 4 for the better part of 50 years. So I'm the last man on earth who'd judge you. And if you know somebody running themselves into the ground, somebody who keeps saying next year, somebody who's in the room but 1,000 miles gone, send this to them. Don't say a word about it. Just send it. It might be the one thing that stops them before they end up like Ambrose, sitting in a chair with still hands, staring back at a whole life they never actually got to see. I'm Cormac, 89 years old, 1 leaky cottage on a cold harbor, a kettle older than most of you, and $40 in my wallet. That's it. That's the whole estate. But tomorrow morning, the sun is going to come up gold over that water, and for once in my long life, I'm going to sit on that porch with my coffee, and I'm going to actually watch it, every second of it. Come sit up with me again tomorrow night. I'll leave the lamp in the window for you.